Alright, hello ladies and gentlemen, Heavyclone here, and how y'all doing? Bringing you guys another Fortnite video. So over the last couple of days, there's been a ton of talk about the impacts and effects of tilted towers on the overall game experience in Fortnite Battle Royale. We're all after that action-packed, phenomenal gaming experience, but is tilted really delivering that to us, or is it actually greatly slowing down the game and making it boring in the long run? Well, in today's video, I'm going to explore both sides of this story while sharing my thoughts about this issue to you guys. Then I'm going to go over a few proposed solutions that could work if implemented properly. So let's begin. So if you guys aren't quite familiar with the background of this argument, essentially when Tilted Towers was first implemented into the game, people thought it was the greatest thing ever, since it provided players with a great central location to land with lots of action and lots of loot. Due to everyone having the same opinion, the majority of lobbies started landing there every match, and this has continued on ever since. That is where the Tilted Towers every match culture essentially was born. Now, while this trend of always going tilted does have its positives, as time has gone on, more and more people have begun to notice the underlying issues that tie into having everyone landing in the same place in a battle royale game mode, which is supposed to scatter the player pool across the map, right? This has led to the formation of two factions, those that believe that Tilted is the second coming of Christ, it's freaking amazing, and those that believe it's slowly killing the game. Now I'm going to go out there and say right now that I am siding with the second faction that believes it is indeed killing the game. However, I am going to try and explain the opposite point of view to you guys as best as I can so that you can see both sides of the story and then make a decision for yourself. So the pro-Tilted faction loves Tilted because it provides players with quick, instant action over and over again. These are players who typically aren't very skilled at the game and instead are just looking for several minutes of fun before dying and then restarting again, because they don't want to just land, loot for several minutes, then die to a better player or team. They prefer to skip the whole looting part and get right to fighting so that they can improve faster than if they were just going in matches and having to go through the entire loot phase over and over. This is a very sound argument, and I do agree with it. Tilted does provide players with the ability to improve quicker by allowing them to fight immediately after landing. The thing is, these players don't see the flaws of Tilted due to their unskilled nature. These players rarely make it to mid and late game because they're always going tilted, so they fail to see how Tilted actually slows down the game and hurts the overall player experience. Let me explain exactly how the game is slowed down. So before Tilted was added to the game, a match went like this. 100 players start off in the battle bus, then as it flies over the map, players jump out and distribute evenly throughout the map, with more of them going to the more popular places like Retail Row and Pleasant Park. Even so, however, they're pretty spread out on the map, and because of this, a lot more players make it to mid and late game. Typically, by the end of the first circle, there would be approximately 50 or 60 players remaining. With this distribution, almost anywhere you go, you can expect to fight other players and have a good amount of action. After Tilted was added, however, a typical match goes like this. 100 players start off in the battle bus, and as the bus approaches Tilted, approximately 1/3 to half of the players go into Tilted and fight it out. Now that's a huge chunk. That's half the players that would normally spread out throughout the map all going into one location. Okay, so while these guys are fighting it out in Tilted, everyone else is landing in ghost towns, right? And they're just looting and not finding anyone because they're landing in places like Retail Row and there's only one other team, so they kill that team and then they don't find anyone for the rest of the match. It's honestly hurting the game a lot because these players are normally players that are trying to win. They play a lot, and then they find out that there's no one else playing this game. Everyone just goes tilted every match and dies, so that the matches are empty and it gets boring and it gets tedious, and then they don't want to play the game anymore, right? So the result, by the end of the first circle, there's only 30 players left, or sometimes even less, because they all went tilted and got themselves killed. Essentially, what I'm getting at is that if you do not land tilted, you can expect to play a very slow, low action and low kill game most of the time. If you don't land tilted, the early game is often very slow, and then mid game is extremely boring since everyone's already dead except for a few people that are scattered throughout a huge area. Even the late game often ends up being slow since you end up just wandering around for 15 minutes looking for the few remaining people. Oh, also one last argument for those that are pro tilted towers that I often hear is that if you want to just get quick kills or lots of kills, then you go and land at tilted, but if you want to win, then you're supposed to go elsewhere, right? Now, I do understand the origin of this argument because I do try and get high kill games myself, so having everyone land at one place so I can kill them all makes sense, right? But you can't take into account an argument like this when trying to balance a battle royale game. You have to understand that this isn't a deathmatch or team deathmatch game game mode. It's a battle royale in which the players need to land separately, loot, and then fight each other as the circle closes in and forces them together. Providing an area where everyone can just fight each other right off the bat essentially defies the purpose of the entire game mode, right? You may as well just get rid of the entire battle royale game mode and implement a team deathmatch mode, because that's essentially what Tilted Towers is boiling down to. So to summarize the pros and cons of Tilted Towers, the pros are that it provides an action-packed arena for players that are just looking to land, get into some quick action immediately, then do it all again the next match as they die most of the time. It also provides a way to quickly improve on your mechanics or just have fun if you don't want to just go for wins all the time. The cons are that it slows the whole game down significantly by culling a large portion of the player pool at the start of every match. If you don't land at Tilted, expect a very slow match with very little action and not many kills. It also defies the entire purpose of a battle royale to have all the players landing, or at least the majority of players landing in the same location. Okay, so we've gone over pretty much all the arguments I've heard about the pros and cons of Tilted Towers. If I've missed anything at all, make sure to leave a comment down below, and while you're there, why don't you leave your own opinions there as well? I'm actually really interested in hearing them. Now, let's move on to a couple solutions that have been proposed to fix Tilted Towers. So the first solution is to not remove Tilted, but rather move it so that it isn't in such a central location anymore. I do see how doing that could possibly help to solve the problem, but I don't think it would be enough since most people die before having to leave Tilted anyways. So wherever you place it, people will still go there and fight it out without noticing any real difference, right? The next solution is to make Tilted smaller, like 50% smaller, half the size, alright? This would pretty much make it like any other large point of interest from a loot point of view, such as Pleasant Park or Retail Row, but it would still be very central. Also, the whole Tilted trend is so widespread throughout the community right now that I think a huge chunk of players would still land there every match just because it has the name Tilted Towers. As such, my final solution, and in my eyes the best, is to completely remove Tilted and either replace it with a very small point of interest in the center of the map, or leave the area completely empty. I mean, come on, there shouldn't be a place with so much loot in the middle of the map. It just makes it superior to literally every other location in the first place, because essentially you're landing in the middle of the map, so your chances are you're going to be in the circle, and then you're going to have tons of great loot there, so why would you land anywhere else, right? Now, removing it would force players to disperse across the map evenly once again, right? Returning to essentially the status quo we had before adding Tilted Towers into the game. This would speed up gameplay, put some life into the mid-game, and just make everyone's overall gaming experience better. It also seems that the developers and I are like-minded. For those of you that haven't heard yet, there has been talk of Tilted Towers being replaced with a new point of interest called Captive Castle. So it looks like Epic has indeed been noticing the negative effects of Tilted on the game, and they are working to fix them. They've acknowledged that Tilted is hurting gameplay, so its time is limited. Enjoy it while you can, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, that's all I've got to say, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. What do you guys think of Tilted Towers? Do you guys want it to stay, or do you agree with Epic's solution? Leave a comment down below telling me what you think. Also, if this is your first time here on the channel, I make all kinds of helpful Fortnite videos, so if you guys could help me out in return by subscribing, you guys would be legends. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one.